What is happening, people? Welcome back to Gooner Down Under TV. There's no other way Arsenal could do it, huh? They couldn't just cruise to a nice 2-0 victory. They had to make you stress for those last 5-10 minutes, making you think it's another bottle job, it's another time we're going to drop points in a comfortable win. But luckily we held on. We did end up getting that 2-1 win against Nottingham Forest. And to be honest, I thought this was one of the poorest sides I've seen all season. I think we were a bit lucky, with the lineup they chose. There was no threat at all for them. Even on the counter, there was no Elanga, no Hudson-Odoi. I felt like anytime they got the ball, they weren't really able to get out of their own half very often. If they did, it just never looked that threatening. For most of that game, we had their entire team pinned back into our final third. Most of our back four was literally on the line of the final third as well. So we had pinned them back so far and we were trying to find those little openings. And it goes to show, Nottingham Forest, every time they countered, they typically had a lot more space to try and find something or craft something, create something. Couldn't really do it, even though they were sort of playing all back, I think we were still looking a little bit more creative, a little bit more fluid, which is a really good sign. The only thing, again, is that just final decision making. I feel like we get into really good positions and then either just poor cross, hold the ball a little bit too long. Martinelli was one of the guys that was doing that constantly and just not putting it into dangerous areas or even trying a shot. So many times we're trying pass, and when there's not that much space in the box, it's hard to get those off. But I just want to say, I thought Nuno really screwed up. I know Elanga just came back from injury, and same as Awani. No, I'm definitely going to butcher that. But I think if they went with the front three of Awani, Elanga, and Hudson-Odoi, they would have posed a lot more problems against us, and I don't think we would have been able to pin them that easily. Look, we probably would have still won, and maybe they wouldn't have been so hard to beat and get that initial goal, but I think they would have at least posed a threat, and without them, it was really pretty cruisy until we knew we just had to break them down, and that was pretty much it. Heading into the game, we did see a bit of a lineup change. Smith-Rowe coming in for Mr. Havertz, but really it was all about, can someone please break this deadlock? That was it. Jesus had a couple chances, missed them terribly. One right in front of goal, banged it into the post. And I thought this was going to be one of those games. I thought this was going to be one of those 0-0 stalemates where no one sort of edges ahead, no one can get anything, and we're just going to go drop points, title race done. But 5-10 minutes later, Jesus turns into the hero. Absolute quality goal. I don't even know how he scored from there. Matt Turner's got to close his legs. Don't know what he's doing keeping them so open. But, he picked the one spot he could have scored in and he scored. And that's sort of Jesus, isn't it? Anytime you expect him to get that sort of easy poacher's goal, he's always going to botch it. And then he comes up with something crazy where you don't even expect it. No angles there, nothing, still somehow gets it going. So happy for Jesus. Hopefully he can start getting on a bit of a goal scoring run because he is one of those players, he's streaky. He can be someone who can score goal after goal after goal after goal and then just go on a massive drought. And we are in need of someone just banging game after game. Sounds weird, but you know what I mean? It doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring anyone in as well, which is really disappointing. But Jesus has to start firing for us as well. It was nice to see... Oh, my arm's chopped. Maybe this can start... It was nice to see Saka as well scoring. I don't know why I did that, but you know what? We move. Good fall. I'm lost completely here. Good goal. On his right foot, weaker foot, had a similar opportunity before, went straight to Turner. This time, smashed it in the bins. It was absolutely perfect. Precise pass from Jesus as well. And that's the thing. It's all about getting that initial goal. Against teams like Forest, who are going to have everyone behind the ball, everyone in the final third, just, having no space in there, clinching for a 0-0 draw. We're going to have to find ways to get creative for that first goal. Once we do that, I think then the game's definitely going to open up, as we saw with Jesus. Teams are going to start trying to attack us, and then we can finally exploit that space, like Martinelli did last game, like Jesus did brilliantly finding Saka this game. And not too long after, you see Trossard as well, dribbling past a few players, had a shot, just went over the post. But that's what we need. We need to find ways to get that early goal, whether it's a set piece, whether it's a deflection, own goal, whatever. That first goal is crucial. Um, you know what? To be fair, I think we did get a lot of really good half opportunities where we're sort of like playing it into space, little precise tiki-taka passing in the box. And I think we were there. Just now that final third killer instinct is what we need. I thought Odegaard conducted the game beautifully. Was finding Ben White, Saka in these little triangles. I thought he was doing really well. Nearly got the assist for Jesus as well, who should have finished that first chance he had, but he didn't. So definitely got to give Odegaard his props today. Thought he ran the show. Thought he was actually, he was one of the people that ran the show, and I'll get into the second one later. For now, we've got a bit of a discussion on our hands. We have a bit of a discussion. Emil Smith-Rowe came in, started today. Don't mind my sweaty forehead. We're in Australia. It's really hot, so let's just move from there. Replaced Havertz. Look, this is something I was excited about at the start of the game. I thought we do need a little bit of a freshening up. I'm just not convinced where do we go from here. Smith-Rowe looked okay. He got into some nice spaces, didn't really do much, which is what we say for Havertz a lot of the time. But, I think because we all maybe like Smith-Rowe a bit more, we won't really say it. But personally, I think I'm still leaning towards Havertz for the rest of the season or for the majority of games. Just because I think, yes, he's not the most fluid or creative, but he's a big body. I know that was thrown out a lot, but he's physical. He does get into tackles, get into duels, win headers. It was sort of his header that led to that second goal. I'm not claiming that by any chance, but, that's what I mean. He can be there, he can be a bit of a nuisance, and he can make our midfield a little bit more structured. I feel like with Smith-Rowe and Odegaard, it leaves a lot of work for Rice to do, and he's sort of on an island by himself. Luckily, he's that good that he can sort of maintain it, but I think against a better team, a team that tries to attack us more, they can easily overrun us in midfield. We don't have that height, we don't have that physicality, and I think we could be quite thin. We saw a lot of times last season, Smith-Rowe, Odegaard with Partey sitting in behind, and we were just so easy to get through like nothing. And I have a feeling that would be the same now. There's nothing Smith-Rowe did defensive-wise, that made me, think otherwise. I just don't know. I like him. I want him to succeed. I just don't know where he has a spot in this team. Maybe coming on for Odegaard as a backup 10. But even then, I think if everyone's fit, maybe Vieira is the more creative of the two, and probably, is that one guy who can find that killer pass more often than a Smith-Rowe. But let me know, what do you think? Who would you go for out of the two? There is Trossard as well, who's had a shout there. There's always the opportunity to put Declan Rice in the 8 and Jorginho in the 6. But for me, I think we go with Havertz because he's sort of he doesn't do what Jorginho does, but I think he does get equally into the defensive work as Jorginho, winning duels, headers, physical, bringing players down, a bit of that roughness, while also being a threat in the box. I think when we have corners, set pieces, he's going to be someone that takes the defensive attention. That was terrible. And like I said, for that opening goal, you need as many people just being ugly, chaotic, get that opening goal, then the space will come. I think he definitely helps us out with that. And then maybe Smith-Rowe can come on, end of the game for some energy. He's sort of the better dribbler. If there's more space, he can maybe create some more at the end. But I'm personally going Havertz. Like I said, sort of Jorginho-esque defensive work. Jorginho does it very defensively, very differently by reading the game, interpreting, understanding where he needs to be because he doesn't have the pace. But Havertz also does his own thing, and then also poses a bit of a goal-scoring threat. So I'm going Havertz. I know that might be controversial, but that's where I'm going. Last point, I think we've got to talk about Zinny, dude. I think we need to talk about Zinny. I thought he was unreal today. I thought he was unreal. The amount of times he cut that defense open, played a perfect pass, and then we had the ball in the box, just couldn't really do anything with it. But he was the one orchestrating, playing on the ball, making some really, really sharp passes. And he's been under a lot of pressure this season. Fairly so. He's been really underperforming, defensively sloppy at times. On the ball, wasn't even looking that good. But I thought today was definitely back to his best. Looked like a little magician at that left back. And that's exactly what we're going to need, especially when teams play low blocks. We're going to need more of these people who can find that killer passes. To be fair, I thought Gabriel, wild shout, actually played a few as well, which was really impressive. But Zinchenko is just so calm on the ball. Some of the passes he does with the amount of curve, it's unreal. And it makes it look so effortless. It's just, he honestly is such a joy to watch. But we're not going to talk about too many individual players anymore. We're talking about the team. We're now 2 points behind Liverpool. They do have a game in hand. I think we're above City, but we've got 2 games in hand on them. So now it's just going to hope. Liverpool are going to have a charge. Jurgen Klopp is leaving. I hope they can sort of stumble on it. Maybe play a little bit out of their skin or be a bit too emotional, leave some spaces in the back, whatever. They do have Chelsea tomorrow, maybe today for you. Time zones are weird. We'll move on. And that is a game they usually do stumble in. That is a game they usually do stumble in. If they pick up a draw, we're only 3 points behind, and this whole catastrophe sort of quickly goes away. And who knows? I'm not saying we're going to win the title, but it's just nice to be in a title race where every game feels so important. But that's going to be it from me. Please let me know what you think of the game. What do you think of our chances going forward? And who do you think should start in that 8? Smith-Rowe or Havertz? Or if you have a wild shout, let's hear your wild shout. More importantly, just take care of yourselves. I'll see you in that next video. Peace.